The next big question that I got here in my last video came from, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Eosgolo, I think, is pretty close or similar to how it ought to be. Let's see. Given your 6 years of YouTube now, is there any video that you've done that, in hindsight, you'd really love to go back and redo? Like a second take on a review if you had done, or just something you feel like, given your experience, you could do better? And yes, yes, there are so many games that I wish I could go back and redo. There are so many, because here's the thing. I'm always proud of my reviews as soon as they're put out. The last couple that I did, Kingdom Hearts 3 and Fallout New Vegas, those two games, I feel like I put in a lot of effort into and really showed my abilities off a little bit better as a reviewer, and I feel really great about those. And looking back, obviously there are some that just don't hold up. I mean, my first review of Earthbound, it's kind of like, it makes me wonder how I ever got any subscribers on YouTube to begin with. But it's such a good game, and I really would like to revisit it at some point. There is actually a game that I have reviewed twice. In fact, you might not have noticed this, but I do have 81 games listed in the game collection playlist, but only 80 of them are actually visible on YouTube if you're just looking through my playlist, because my first attempt at playing through and reviewing Soul Blazer, I was just not at all happy with it when it came time to play through and review Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma. So I went ahead and just unlisted that video. It's still in the playlist if you want to go see it. It's not good. It's an exercise in masochism if you want to watch it. But yeah, I felt like that was important to make it a cohesive, like, 3-part or 4-part Soul Blazer series review. Would I say that Persona 1 is still worth playing? Or is it worth playing? You know, this comes back to another question somebody asked earlier in the stream, if there was a review that I was unhappy with that I would rather redo. I think that Persona 1 is probably the one that I've done the least service to. And I do want to replay that at some point. I think that if you're a huge fan of Persona games as they are right now, it's probably not going to interest you a whole lot. But if you're into maybe the Etrian Odyssey games or other first-person dungeon crawlers like that, then this one's probably more up your alley. But that's the thing, is the game is still, it's probably worth it if you are a fan of those. I don't think that you would want to go back to Persona 1 after Persona 5, because that's just going to have a completely different vibe overall. Also in the review, I only played the main quest line, but apparently there's also an entire second quest line that I could play, the Snow Queen quest line. Least favorite Persona game? Either Persona 1 or Persona 3's The Answer are my least favorite. It's one of those two. And I think that maybe a second playthrough of Persona 1 might change my opinion on it. Also in my review, I had recommended picking up the PS1 version for collector's purposes. That is a statement I now fully denounce. So yeah, I think the PSP version is probably the way to go. Origin of the theme song, says Jack Prime. It's a boring story because it's not even a story. Origin of the theme song, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was like, I need a theme song. So I went on to pond5.com and I found one I liked, and I paid like $50 for the rights to use it. Everything else in my channel I've basically made except for the music. So it's not exactly a great story, but a lot of people want to know. And there you go. If you find it on Pond 5, you can use it too. What inspired the SuperDerek look, the hairstyle? It's just a faux hawk part. Oh, so it's kind of an interesting question. It started off as just like a faux hawk. So the thing is, I used to actually wear my hair out pretty long. I used to have hair down to about here-ish, and I ended up deciding that it just didn't look right. I wanted to get a more professional job. So I ended up, pics. You know what? In the Discord, Tom, I will throw in a long-haired SuperDerek pic. But anyways, I wanted to get a job that paid well, or at least better than where I was. So I ended up, going with a shorter haircut. I at the time had a friend who just had introduced me to ska punk, and I'm still a huge fan of ska punk. And he also had a faux hawk, and I was like, I'll try out a faux hawk. Because before this, I had this problem, and I'll add pictures to the Discord of this too, where in grade school, see, I got this cowlick right here, and I used to part my hair down the middle. But because of this cowlick, my hair would do this thing, and it would like make this heart shape in my forehead. And it was kind of not great for most things. So eventually I got the faux hawk, and I thought I really liked it. And eventually it just sort of, instead of just being straight up, it kind of moved forward a little bit, and it just used this natural cowlick in the front of my hair. And so it's very interesting. So right now, I actually don't use any hair product at all. I actually just showered before this stream. There's no product in my hair. This is being held up just from sheer force of my cowlick. So that's the origin. It's, I didn't choose the SuperDerek do. The SuperDerek do chose me. It was fate. Yep, that's some cowlick. Pretty much, man. That was lame. Going home. Whoever disliked the video is just jealous of the cowlick. I mean, dislikes are okay too. As far as YouTube is concerned, they're still considered audience interaction. It's actually better for people to dislike the video than to do nothing at all. That's the sweet irony of it all. So even the people who show up and hate me and just downvote or thumbs down like 5 times, it's, for all intents and purposes, YouTube thinks, hey, that's a success. Lawrence Reed again with a super chat. Huge fan and basically a JRPG fanatic myself. Been watching you for a while, and your sub count is criminally low. I think you will blow up one day. I hear that sometimes, and honestly, I really appreciate the sentiment, but I also really, really appreciate the close-knitness of our community as it is right now, where I can see names and recognize people's names in the chat and not have just a wall of text that I can't read. I really like that. That's one of the other things that I really like about the Discord server that I've got, is that it's really just a perfect opportunity for me to hang out and just casually hang out with everybody all the time and get to actually know more people in the community. Yeah, the Discord server is public, by the way. If anybody wants to join it, there are links basically in all of the newest JRPG weekly updates if you're interested. Oh, this comes from Daniel W. Could you please consider launching a second channel for archives of your streams? Not a fan of using Twitch, but would like to watch the streams archived. Well, as a matter of fact, Daniel, for everybody who doesn't already know, I do actually have an archive channel for all of my Twitch streams. It's here on YouTube. It's just called SuperDerek Streams, and it's active once in a while. So what I do basically right now is I stream an entire game, and all of the streams are backed up to that archive. And then once I'm finished with that stream, I start releasing videos every day of my backlog because it's easier to manage them in bulk like that. So if you're interested in seeing that, but you're not ever able to hang out on Twitch, you can go get caught up with what I'm doing over there, usually. Will you ever bring your streams back to YouTube? Also, when will we get another PS1 JRPG review with that old school SuperDerek vibe? Well, as it so happens, I'm currently playing through Star Ocean the Second Story on Twitch, and that's going to be the next thing I review. So there's a PlayStation 1 RPG, and I will do my best to give it that old school SuperDerek vibe. As for if I'll ever bring my streams back to YouTube, I would like to. I really would. There are a couple of reasons that I haven't, and I guess I'll go ahead and talk about that for a moment. One of the main reasons that I haven't already brought that back to YouTube, or one of the reasons that I rather moved away from YouTube, is because I found that as I would stream, I would really open myself up to a lot of possible copyright claims when I was streaming. It was really driven home to me during E3 last year when I was dual streaming to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. During E3 streamed the Ubisoft conference live and did a reaction and hung out with a lot of people, and it was a really great experience. Unfortunately, that ended up grabbing my channel a copyright strike. Not just a claim, but an actual strike. Ubisoft did this thing where everybody who covered E3 on their channels, just like that. And when you get a copyright strike, especially back then, it was pretty harsh. It meant like during that time you could not live stream at all. You could not have thumbnails on YouTube. There were a lot of things that are affected by copyright strikes. And worst case scenario, if you have 3, your channel's just gone. And eventually they took their heads out of their butts and eventually reversed that for everybody. But then again, and this happened again this year during E3, for everybody who streamed Ubisoft's conference. And it's a dangerous thing for me to stream on YouTube, I think. It's just something I would rather not have. It's like an anvil that I would rather not have looming over my head. Because if I'm streaming through, say, Star Ocean the Second Story, and Square Enix suddenly decides to change their policies and says, you know what, anybody who streams that, copyright strike, and then all of a sudden, 17 games get striked all at once and my channel is just gone. I'm kind of doing that as a way to put my eggs in multiple baskets. I wish that I could stream here on YouTube more often because, like, right now, 130 people are watching right now. And that is amazing. I'm used to talking in front of 10 to 15 over on Twitch. It's kind of funny, but it's what I gotta do. I'll just plug my Twitch channel if you guys ever want to go hang out with a smaller crowd and get some more one-on-one time with yours truly. It's twitch.tv/SuperDerekRPGs.